So before we make these lateral supports, I want to make a change. So we're going to delete this one. I deleted the leg over there. I want to remove some of this space here. So I want to cut some of that out and shorten this up. And then I want to move this portion, or this hole. I think it's going to be fine where it's at, because we're going to run a bar. It's going to act as our paddle. It's going to go from there to there. I think we're okay where it's at, but I'd like to move it in a little bit. Possibly move it in here. So instead of going back into the original drawing, what I think it would be best to do is go left click sketch, left click on this leg, left click on this line tool, click here, run that along so that it's parallel, pull that away, hit escape. Let's go over and split that. And so now that we have that sketch, let's hit the green check mark. Let's do extrude. Let's do a surface here. And let's click on the sketch for the surface. Let's rotate it the other way. So let's have it go through the part. Hit a green check mark. Let's go over and let's look just underneath where it says split. And let's click on our part. Let's click here on what we want it to split with, which is what we just created, and hit the green check mark. All right, good. So now let's scroll in here. What I want to do is move this up a little bit. So left click on this. Let's make sure, yeah, so it created two parts. We've got the top part and the bottom. Let's go over where we had split, but let's select transform. Let's do by X, Y, and Z. And let's move this up in the Z axis, almost to the point where it is touching the hoop, or where the hoop's going to go. Hit green check mark, and let's look at that. Pretty good. I just felt like we had too much space, more than we did on the original frame. So I'm going to turn that reference off. Let's turn off the reference hoop. Let's bring it up a little bit more. So let's go back to this transform. We'll take about a ½ inch off. I think that would be good. So let's go 0.75. Let's take off 3/4 of an inch. And now let's look at that. Pretty good. Turn it on, see where it's going to hit. All right, let's turn that back off. Let's select these, left click again, and then right click here. There's two different ways you could do it. You could click it here and go up to bouillon, or you can come over here and hit bouillon. Either one works. We're going to combine those into one part. So that's often easier than going all the way back through, messing with the sketch if you don't have everything constrained, which you should, but I'm bad about that where I don't. Often I won't constrain those. All right. So that works pretty well. Let's left click on this. Left click on this sketch, left click here. Let's left click on the line tool. Let's start here. Let's bring that over and then bring it up. Come back over here and make sure those connect. There we go. I think we're connected. I could be off. Yeah, there we go. Hit escape. And then I'm going to go extrude. So actually, before I do that, let's do this. Let's bring this over. Let's remove that, because we're going to bring it in just a second. Just to be safe, we'll move it over by maybe a ½ inch or so. All right, now let's close that out. Let's go extrude. Let's left click on that sketch. We want to go solid. Add. We want it to be a ½ inch in depth. And we'll have to select that sketch again. All right, so we want it to go the other way. Good. Hit the green check mark. Let's see how that looks. That looks pretty good. Let's go over here, select our fillet tool. Let's round that edge. And that looks pretty good, and that'll give us something fairly flat to put on the ground. And now we're going to move that over here. Let's go left click sketch, left click on that part again on that leg. Right there, that. Let's put it right around even with that. Left click on the dimension tool, left click on the outer diameter and go 0.315, green check mark. And let's find out how far apart we are there. So that, let's go 1.75 inches from the side. Let's go 0.75 from there. Eesh, I don't know. Let's go 0.65. Let's see what that looks like. I'd like it to be fairly close. 0.7. Yeah, there we go. Not that it has to line up to that. Let's go over here. So we close that sketch out by hitting the green check mark. Let's extrude that, hit sketch. Let's go remove, so it should be solid remove. Merge scope with all, and then green check mark, and then that should take that through. Good. Anyway. So now let's left click on that leg. Let's go up here to mirror. And let's select our mirror plane. So we want a new part. Let's hold down the right mouse button, left click on right plane and hit green check mark, and you'll see now we have our leg over there. And we'll scroll down. That should have been, on that mirror, should have been solid new, not add. Now let's hit green check mark, and if we scroll down on part 23, we'll rename that again as part 23 left leg. And I have found that process there, instead of going into the original sketch, often it's easier for me just to make my changes right there and not throwing anything off on the original sketch. So there's our changes. Let's left click on the right view. Let's go left click sketch, left click right here on right view, left click on the corner rectangle tool, hover over the center and then draw that out. That'll give us all the dimensions. We're going to do that for each one of these. Instead of doing it one at a time. There we go. Then over here, we're going to have to use the line tool. Let's left click on the line tool, go over to a corner edge, left click, and then just draw this out. And then rotate out with the wheel to expand the view. green check mark. Let's go to isometric view. Let's go extrude. Left click on that sketch. We're going to go solid, new. We want to go the other direction, 11.5 inches. Hit green check mark. And that should take us all the way through. Now that's a little further over than we needed. All right, let's go back into that extrude. Let's shorten that to 11 inches. Green check mark. And those should just fit inside. Yeah, that's good. That's what we wanted. We're going to go down here, and it's created all these parts. And these are going to be lateral supports. Doesn't matter the number. Off these lateral supports for just a second. And let's go ahead and turn off one of the legs. And we're going to create all of our lateral supports here. Let's go ahead and turn off the reference. We don't need it for right now. Go right. Let's scroll in. We're going to go left click sketch. Left click here on the right leg. Use the corner rectangle tool. Let's bring that across. We're going to do this for each. Select our dimension tool, left click, come over and go 0.4. There we go. We'll center that up in just a second. This should have been what? 2.25. We'll do the same thing and center those up. Same. I may have to put a center point circle in that just to give it something to anchor to. Let's go 0.25. We'll delete that in just a second. Ooh, that should have been way smaller. 0.125. Let's left click here, left click on the center of that, and go 0.25 to center that up. Good. Let's go back in to that sketch. I just closed it so that we could save it so we don't delete it. And that should center everything there. Let's go left click here, and there. Let's get those to be even. So 0.1375. All right. I just want to see what that one is now. All right. Good enough. And then we're going to do that all the way around. And then we'll make these and mirror them so we don't have to spend so much time. So that should have been 2.25. Green check mark. 0.4. Let's create a center point circle here. Set it at 0.125. Let's set the distance between those at 0.25. Let's go back in. We'll delete that circle. So we don't really need it. And let's set this here at 0.1375. Rectangle tool. And so we're just repeating that. 2.25. This one at 0.4. This one here at 0.1375. Create a center point circle just to have it something to center it to. And then we'll delete this one out. 0.4. 2.25. 0.25. Oops. 0.125. Left click here, left click there. Oop, wrong one. Close that, delete it. So let's left click here, and that should be 0.25. And then this should go here, left click there, and go 0.1375. Let me make sure I did that right. Yeah. Let's go back in, turn off the dimension tool. Let's delete that center point circle because we don't need it now that we've centered it. This one's a little bit more difficult because of the angle. So we're going to want to make sure that as we create this, it is parallel. So let's left click on the line tool, left click here. We're going to come over and touch this line, and then we're going to come back out. That shows us that we're parallel there. Let's go down here. I want to touch this line and come across so that we're perpendicular. And we'll change the, again, making sure that we are squared up. And then left click. Pull that away, hit escape, and let's go ahead and set these to the length before we connect it. 2.25, green check mark. 2.25, green check mark. This is going to be 0.4. Now back up to the line tool and make sure that we're connecting these dots here. And those should be squared up. You can pull that away, go back, select the dimension tool, select that line and this one, and go 0.1375, green check mark. Let's go make a center point circle. Hover over the center here. Let's go back to our dimension tool, left click the outer diameter and go 0.125, green check mark. Back over to the center, click on that. We should be 0.25. Everything looks good there. Let's delete that circle. Turn off dimension tool, highlight the center point circle that we created, and then we should have them all. So let's go green, check mark. Let's go over and make sure we're going to extrude these in the right way. So let's go extrude, solid new. Our extrude should be 0.25. These are going to be new. Are they going in the right direction? Looks like it. So green check mark. All right, so that did not do what I wanted it to do. We just made that. We do need the center point circles. So let's go ahead and open that sketch back up. I see exactly what the mistake I made. Now we could just extrude this out and then do this, but let's just go ahead and get it done here. So let's go out. Let's change that one. And so we're just going to fill these in. 0.125. 0.125. Let's try this other one. Those should have been 0.125. All right, they are. I just messed up on this one somehow. Let's delete that. I'm going to check it again and see. Yeah, 0.125. There we go. I selected the wrong thing. All right, and then we're going to do a corner rectangle tool. Just select the corner of that. And we're going to do each one of these. 0.125. I did it again, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. What I want to do is select the edge of that. What I'm accidentally doing is I'm touching that line. Bring that out so that that doesn't happen again. Let's do corner rectangle tool, make sure it fits and it locks in. You won't have to do any measurements because they are already set. Left click on center point circle. Set the dimensions of the diameter to 1.25. 0.125. Corner rectangle tool, draw that out. Make sure it locks in to what you've already set. Let's do this last one here. There we go. We are almost done. So we didn't have to delete the center point circles that we used to lock in everything. So I'm going to close that one out and delete that. I locked it in on the line by accident. This one we're going to have to use the line tool because of the angle. So just go out to each of the corners and that should lock it in. All right, now let's scroll out. Green check mark. Let's go to isometric view. Let's go left click sketch, left click on sketch 29, go 0.25 inches. These should be new, so all new parts because we're going to have to CNC these. And then green check mark. We'll only have to export out one, but we're going to leave them as their own part. Okay, so that gives us all of our lateral supports. We got the left leg here. What I want to do is turn on the lateral supports. And then we will go in here and we're going to left click these. All right, actually, let's just change the name, rename. Lat support connection. Now we need to duplicate those lateral support connections. Starting at 29, hit shift, oops, turn that guy off. You can also hold down shift and just select each one. Now we're going to go up and mirror. We want those. So I'm going to go left here. We want to select right view. So we want to left click on mirror plane, left click on right view, and then we should see those on the opposite side, green check mark, and there they are. And it should have renamed those. There we go. So we'll just go down here, and I'll rename each one of those. So we got those named. These are going to be welded on. They have to be individually CNC'd. Then the lateral support goes on each end. We weld those often in that position.